Greetings and salutations, exiles. In this video, we're going to discuss tools and siege weapons and the implementation of them in the game, and kind of a way forward or a concept for a way forward. So right now, we really only have two systems for siege mechanics. So you have your and they've done away with melee damage to buildings. You know, before a while back, you could hit a target with your hammer, and it would damage the door, and you could get in. You know, you hit it 30 times, and you could get into a door or whatever. But they've done away with that, and so now when you hit a building, it does 1 damage. And so then your leads, you have your trebuchet, and then you have explosives, and you can do fire arrows. So they've limited it to basically 2 types of damage that it corresponds with getting into buildings. You know, you have it, let's say, call it your concussion damage, or your, you know, like the boulder hitting the building, and then the fire damage are your 2 mechanisms that involve getting into structures. And I would like to see another siege machine introduced into the current system. Instead of, you know, shooting the boulders with the trebuchet, I would like to see a wagon style, you know, like you would see in like Vikings, where they have the wagon, and they have the big log with the, you know, with the ram head, the iron ram head on the end of it, and they use it kind of like as a pendulum, and they pull it back, and they you know, and they release it, and it smashes the door, or it smashes the wall or the gate. I would like to see something like that implemented in the game, and for a couple of reasons. And you know, me, I'm always an advocate of this replayability loop without generating additional assets. And for those of you who don't know, assets are kind of the term used for creating new object or items in the game. And so, yes, the RAM siege machine would be a new asset, but it would use existing you know, materials and items that currently exist, like iron or steel and wagon wheels and all that stuff. And it wouldn't move fast. It would be, you know, it would just crawl. It would be, ultimately, its, you know, its land speed would just be super slow. It would be like half walk speed. And if some, you know, it would be powerful, but you would have to basically you could use the same mechanism as the thrall. You know, when you attach a thrall and you drag it with the rope, it can have the same mechanism, so you can use it to get to where you want. You just drag it with your rope, but it's gonna be really slow, really slow. And kind of the concept behind this is you're vulnerable in your process of getting it to where it needs to be. And so you have that piece, and then because it's a siege machine, it requires thralls. So you have to have 4 carpenter thralls on this siege machine. You basically equip this siege machine with these carpenter thralls, and so you have to, there's some kind of tertiary requirements besides just crafting it and being challenging to craft. You have to have these thralls. So there's a big risk reward, and it drives this replayability loop that I'm consistently talking about. Like right now, I'm running to go get some weapons repair kits, because as you can see, all my tools are broken and I don't have any star metal. So it drives that replayability loop. And but in this idea of this cart siege machine, or this battering ram, you know, not only does it require a bunch of thralls to operate, and it would show, you know, it would show the thralls like pushing the, you know, the levers, or pushing the arms to operate the, so there would be kind of that visual appearance to go with it that made it look really cool. And you know, you couldn't do damage to the thralls because they're attached the same way that a you know, that you attach a thrall to a workstation. You know, you equip them and you just see the guy sitting there hammering away at the, at the project or whatever you're currently working on. But this is just kind of a wish list concept. You know, I like the idea of PvP. It just needs to be managed in a certain way to where the expense is high, the risk reward is high to, and you have to kind of plan out so that way you're not attacking, all the little guys. You're just going around and preying off all the little guys. You want to build systems to where it gets into the big stuff and it makes it worth it. And you kind of engineer the system in a certain way. Anyways, I think I've kind of fleshed out this idea pretty extensively in this video. And, tell me what you think. Tell me if you like the idea of a battering ram cart. It'd move real slow. It would be dragged the same way that you drag a thrall with a rope. And, maybe even it takes two people. Maybe it takes two players to drag this thing with a rope. And you'd have to put a bunch of carpenter thralls on it to operate it. Like it wouldn't operate by itself. You'd have to kind of have it pre set up, and you'd have to repair it nonstop. It'd be one of those things that you're perpetually repairing to keep it operational, but it would be on par with the catapult or the trebuchet. And I would also like to see. I'm going to tie into this in another video. I'm going to follow it up because I don't want to drag this on too long. But always, criticism is welcome. Always like and subscribe, and leave feedback. Thank you for watching.